Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and I'm back again talking about another disaster of an HD remaster. That rhymes. I didn't mean it to. I'm also still ill, so I do apologize for any coughing or the way I sound. But yes, Warcraft 3 Reforged launched. A game, the original Warcraft. I very much enjoyed it. I think it's a fantastic game, and Blizzard, after doing StarCraft Remastered, said they were going to do Warcraft 3 Reforged with these extra bits and bobs. Turns out, game didn't launch in a particularly good state. Now, I've been quite vocal about how I think StarCraft Remastered was quite lazy, but at least that game works. You know, obviously if you've watched the video about my Commandos 2 HD remasters, you know how I feel about remasters. They've got to not just make the graphics look nicer, they've got to do some quality of life stuff. Which it sounds like this is what the point of this remaster was for Reforged. But apparently that hasn't happened. Now I'm on Forbes' website. I'm going to bypass most of what they say just to get to kind of the points. So I can just talk about the points and I can go over it with you and kind of explain stuff. But it sounds like the whole thing's a nightmare. Also, this website's got so many adverts on it, so apologies about that. Let's get rid of this crap. So, Blizzard promised better cutscenes with improved graphics, cinematics and voice work, but what they showed off at BlizzCon, even as far back as 2018, is not as what we got in the final game. Now, I'm not going to play the videos, but basically, if you watch what they showed off and then what is actually in the game, they've obviously done some minor tweaking, but not nearly to the extent of what they were showing off originally. So what's happened here is clearly they ran out of time, ran out of budget, I'm not even sure, but they scaled back on it massively. So I'm not surprised people are disappointed with that. Kind of sucks, not the end of the world, but you know, would have been nice to go back and kind of do those cutscenes. Gamers are reporting numerous bugs, crashes, hang-ups, assets not loading, and many other problems that shouldn't exist in a remaster of decades-old game. Some are even saying the UI looks worse than before, and others say the game generally looks worse, so this is subjective. I couldn't agree more with this. Shouldn't exist in a remaster of a decades-old game. Bugs, crashes, hang-ups, assets not loading. Let's just think about that again. Bugs, crashes, hang-ups, and assets not loading. In a game that is built on an existing game, you've managed to add in new bugs, apparently, crashes, hang-ups, and assets not loading, which I have seen pictures of. What the absolute fuck are you playing at, Blizzard? Like, honestly, this game, it was still playable, like the original StarCraft before remasters come out, and even now, StarCraft and Warcraft 3 you could still play, and they were fine as they were. Like, they didn't need the remasters, like, they're obviously nice, even though, you know, my own thoughts on StarCraft remastered, but Warcraft 3 you can go and play, and it's still playable, it's still fun. Somehow you've incorporated all this new stuff that's just completely messed up. How? The game Reforged is built off of Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne expansion. Like, what did you do to mess this up? And where's the QA testing on this shit? Like, surely not all of this got through QA. Like, come on. And like, the difference between Blizzard and Yippee Entertainment, which were the ones that did the Commandos remaster, is that Yippee are probably a lot smaller. Blizzard have got years and years and years of experience. This is even less acceptable than the Commandos 2 stuff, and even that wasn't acceptable. Like, Blizzard are just, at the moment, are just making themselves look worse and worse. We have the Blizzchung stuff, we've got this now, we have the Diablo Immortal stuff, like, oh my god. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. What else have we got going on here? Many users have experiencing login and connectivity issues as well. Connecting to custom matches or even accessing the campaign has been an issue. Why? The campaign shouldn't be. That's an offline flipping mode. Why are they having problems with the campaign? Jesus Christ. Now that both Reforged, oh yeah, this is interesting, that Reforged and the original game are on the same online infrastructure, those connectivity issues will impact the original as well. So basically, because they updated Warcraft 3 earlier in the year, or I think it was earlier in the year, it might have been last year. They've now merged them together in the sense that even if you are playing the original, any issues online that affect Reforged are going to affect the original game. Like, what? Why? Why have you done this? Like, I'd understand if it was all working, but it's not. Some basic features of the original are no longer in the remaster, according to one user on Reddit. I don't know how true this is, just take this with a pinch of salt. Automated tournaments, clans, profiles, competitive ladder, and much more. I don't know about any of this. I'm just going to take their word for it. If this guy's been playing the original a lot, fair enough. Like, what? Why are you cutting stuff out? Like, what? The whole point of a remaster is to, like, make it run on modern systems, which they're clearly not doing. Upscale stuff, or put it into higher resolution. You've improved the quality of the models, which, to be fair, some of them do look pretty good. And then some quality of life stuff. And it seems like you've taken away things. Like, what? This one here, the new user agreement includes language that essentially copyrights all user-created custom games, giving Blizzard complete control over all user-generated content. The implications of this are pretty huge, but essentially it's an attempt by Blizzard to never let another Dota 2 situation happen again. It's also deeply misguided, and there's a very real question about whether it's actually legal. So, what they're talking about here is Dota, the original Dota, was made as a mod or a custom game from Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne. So, they obviously wanted to do stuff with that, and then Valve picked it up, they made Dota 2, made a whole game out of it, and Blizzard had to then go away, and they did Heroes of the Storm, which didn't do particularly well. So they're trying to stop that kind of thing happening again, which has pissed off a lot of people. They're like, wait, what? Why do we have to hand this over to you? So this is interesting, to say the least, this bit. And then fans are attempting to get refunds, some with more success than others. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but others are reporting users being banned from the Blizzard forums for complaining or asking for refunds. Like he says, if it's true, then it is a problem. Like, basically anyone who's bought this is entitled to a refund by being sold something that isn't fit for purpose, or isn't what was shown. So, misguiding, or the term is misrepresentation of the product shown. So, if they're not refunding people, that's bullshit. Like, there needs to be, that's like against the law, because people are getting a product that isn't as advertised. So, fingers crossed that that isn't the case and it is all getting done. But as you can see, not the greatest launch. That's 2 games in this very short span of time that have come out that are meant to be remasters of popular titles people liked. Obviously, Warcraft is a much bigger series than Commandos, but it still just goes to show, like, this kind of rush these things. Like, this game got delayed, I believe, like by a month or something, to like get it out the door in a better state, and clearly that hasn't happened. This is one of those other games, like, I would have liked to have played this. I'm gonna have to wait now. Like, my trust in Blizzard has gone downhill quite a lot because they just don't seem to have the, like, back in the day, yeah, Diablo series, they had StarCraft, and they had Warcraft, and that's what made the company. They spent time on their products, they released products, not to say they probably didn't have bugs or, some issues, but they spent time on their products. Warcraft 3 is a really, really good game, as is StarCraft 2. Like, in terms of their RTS stuff, they're both really good. So to see this come out in what apparently for a lot of people is a buggy piece of shit, is just not acceptable, and it shows that Blizzard are not the same people. They're not going to take the time on it to make it as best as they can. They're going to give it X amount of time, X amount of money, and it goes out the door. Everything that was promised in this was exactly what I want from a remaster, where it's like, we're going to go back, we're going to make the graphics look a bit nicer, we're going to go back and maybe fix a few issues, implement stuff, just things that actually make it worth your money. There's a reason to buy it. What's the point in buying a remaster if it isn't going to, like, fix, tweak some things, fix a few things, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm also just like, you know what? They deserve all the flack for it. They keep fucking up at this point. I'm a little bit less angry about. I'm still annoyed about this, but not quite as much as Commandos, simply because Commandos I didn't have much information on when buying it, and that was more of a disappointment for me. Whereas this, I didn't pre-order it. But it goes to show, like, pre-ordering games, man, like, just certain companies can be trusted, certain companies can't, and I think Blizzard are putting themselves in that point now where it's like they can't be trusted. Yeah, I hope that they fix all of this, but I also hope that a lot of people get refunds on it, and I want Blizzard to be actually see the amount of people, the backlash towards it. you know, and for this to get fixed pronto, because this kind of behavior isn't going to work. Like, if there are any more remasters coming out of games that I want to play, then I'm going to keep a close eye on them. I am I'm pissed off for other people's sake in that sense, but like at the same time, like, okay, I'll have to wait and see how this turns out now. You know, luckily I still play StarCraft 2, which is the best thing that, in my opinion, they've put out. But also, this is a Warcraft game. Warcraft is their biggest franchise with like World of Warcraft and Hearthstone. You've just pissed off a huge amount of your fans. Like, as much as I want StarCraft to be as big as Warcraft, it isn't. It's got a big fan base, but it's not the same size as Warcraft. And if you're bringing in new people who haven't played these games before, what a horrible way to start that off. So, yeah, I will keep a close eye on this and see how this develops. I would like to hope that there's going to be patches fairly soon. I will probably also take a look at it later in the year. I'm gonna give it like 6 months or so, like, before I even decide to buy this, because I'm not gonna. I've got the original on disc. I can just install that and play that. So I'm not giving them any money towards something that's a half-baked product. They can forget it. So, but yeah, this is just kind of like a warning for people, that anyone who's interested in this stuff, and also warning against Blizzard. You've got to be careful about what products you buy by them now, because clearly they don't care as much, you know, and that sucks. That really does suck, considering how much time and effort they were known for putting into their games. But yeah, we'll have to see how this unfolds. It's going to be like another little short one today, guys. Thanks very much for watching and listening to this video. Apologies that I'm still ill. Just hopefully get over it over the weekend. But if you like the video, obviously hit like. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe. Twitter and Facebook links down below if you want to join those communities. And until next video, I'll see you then.